Okay, we're gonna get straight into it today. Just give me a minute. I'm missing a bit. There we go. Right. I had to pick some sort of music, otherwise you would have literal silence as I talk. Couldn't be too loud either. Anyway, that's not the point. Gonna be talking about Honkai Nexus Anima today, and the lore that's been revealed officially. Before starting this stream today, I have been grabbing every piece I possibly can from, of course, the official Twitter and the website, as well as putting some of my words into thought and checking some TL stuff. Not that I can translate, but seeing what others have said on the, translate stuff. But that's not my main thing, so don't come to me for that. That's for people who can do that, obviously. But I put some notes and stuff to keep track of some bits. But yeah, so I've gathered, of course, all of this here. I'm going to talk about, my thoughts on Honkai Nexus Anima. Quite a few thoughts, to be honest. I wanted to do this sooner, but I didn't have a chance because I was just juggling some bits. Anyway, let's get into it. My first plan is to probably just read out what we have, and then go more into detail. You want to find what this is? This is on the official website. As you can see, that's clearly the website up there and stuff. The reason I'm not using the website page is just because I thought it'd be easier putting it on the Discord capture, because that's where I obviously have, where I usually talk a lot and type a lot and stuff. And I've also got, yeah, there you go. I've also got this ready in case I want to go over, some stuff to do, Mihoyo games and stuff. Specifically Honkai Impact 3rd. And yes, as I already was going to say at the beginning of this thing, there will be spoilers on, practically everything. Different games and stuff I'm obviously talking about stuff. I'll remove that for now because you don't need that right now as I talk. But yeah, I'm going to be doing that, like I say, so that's just there for some bits here and there. Hi Glyphic, hi Walsh, hope you're doing well, welcome in. How's your day going? You're looking forward to Honkai Nexus Anima? Just about to give my thoughts on it and some theories and some pieces that obviously we've received officially. First plan's just to read characters out and go over what we've been revealed, then is to go over other things. Now, I'll probably go for them one by one, otherwise it's just going to be reading everything and then rereading everything again. Doing alright, working from home today? I see. Well, I hope working from home is going well for you. So first of all, we got the first character here that they revealed, or at least, is on the logo, being Nanafe. It says, you got the thing saying others here, saying those you will encounter during your journey. So, these characters you might meet along our journey, whoever whoever the us is. I'm guessing it's the, I'm not saying it's a self-insert, but I'm guessing it's going to be the character we can customize. At least according to what they showed us in the video. But we'll see. I do hope character has their own role and everything. It isn't just something you can have for customizing them for lobbies and stuff. Though I'll understand if it is just for that as well, because for all we know there could be some PvP, there could be some more multiplayer-y type stuff. Again, it's all up in the air right now. Anyway, I'm here more to talk about lore, not really gameplay, to be honest. But yeah, we've got Nanafe here, who is a young girl and ordinary student. She kindly allows you to stay in her home. Pure, innocent and kind, she's the pride of Leah, which seems to be, at least, I'm guessing, the first location. That's a continent name. Not sure, I think that's probably the first, we know there's at least 81 planes. I don't know if this is necessarily one of the planes, but considering the trailer that they posted, the first teaser of, remember Honkai, during the Honkai Star Rail livestream, that for some reason they took down. I don't know why they took that down and privated it, but in that trailer it talks about, a new plane or something, doesn't it? It was Kiana's, voice saying, I've arrived in a new plane or something, it said. So I assume that's one of the 81 planes that exist in, let's say, either Leah or let's say wherever Honkai Nexus Anima is going to take place. Yeah, but she's found the pride of Leah and loved by all. We haven't got a name for what this is yet, so I'm curious what this little creature is. I know they're called Anima, which is an interesting name. So we've also got, like, you know, the whole Animus thing, remember? And Anima in, or at least Animus in, like, Honkai Impact 3rd, remember? That, like, the weird sky people thing, remember? But I think it's just a coincidence that I don't think that's connected in any way. You know, with that specifically. But that word was used, remember? Like, you had the Animus or something it was called. But anyway, let's move on for now. So that's just Nanafe. I've not really got much to say on her. She looks cute. I've seen some say it reminds them of the Miyuji mascot that's on the like CN version, you could say, of Hoyo Lab or something, or Miyoshu. I can see it. I like the little water effects. Honestly, other than that, though, not really got a lot to say. She's on the front cover, so she might be the main character. I don't know. It says others, so I assume the main character's going to be more the thing I said before, but we'll see. Then you got Hua, who is a young Animaster, they're apparently called. Like, apparently that's what the title is, at least. Burning with passion, he's already quite famous in Leah for his goal of making it through the qualifiers and the Ampit Theatre. So yeah, theatre. You know, there's some sort of battle thing going on, of course, with characters and stuff. Again, there's some other bits on that, but we'll just focus on the characters for now. As for HNA, without going into too much detail, I stopped playing all of the Hoyo games earlier this year, so I haven't been following it. That's fair enough, Walsh. Sometimes you just either need a break, or you have enough of them. That's fair. I'm going to continue playing more Hoyo games the end of time, probably. But that's understandable. I'm really excited for this, honestly. Mainly for the lore and stuff. Not stuff I'm really reading right now. Like, this is quite... I'm not saying in a bad way, I'm saying mundane compared to some of the stuff we'll be reading later. That they've already, like, obviously revealed. Like with the Sovereigns and the, what was the other words? Oh, I'm still not used to saying the word. What was it? Oh yeah, there it is. Novarks. But the others didn't have too many crazy details, it felt like, on them, but I do like the anima he's got, and it's not listed on the list of anima we've got, so it's either a rare one. We saw it in the trailer as well. I quite like its design, a bit Egyptian, reminds me of Anubis a little. I really like the dark blue colour scheme with the gold. It's definitely something I like with colours. Oh, no, not much to say. They put the name Hua, which is interesting, which makes you wonder if it's like, did they do a gender swap, you know, like a gender swap of, you know, Fuwa here and doing like a Hua, you know, like previous era? But I don't think so. I think it's just picking the name Hua, honestly. I'll need to see more before I'm convinced of something like that. That doesn't mean you can't have, of course, a male Hua. It's just... I don't think it's necessarily a variant, is what I'm saying. The design looks cool, though. I like the little streak here of, like, I don't know what to call that. Is that teal? That's light blue. That's definitely not cyan. Reminds me more of teal, this little, like, bang here in the hair. You know, something down here as well, like a watch, or some something on his, like, body, which is also got a similar colour scheme. Some ripped jeans. Some of this does remind me, I guess, of previous era Hua a little, but not really. He just looks to me like some sort of battler that's quite famous in Leah. That's my main thoughts on him, to be honest. We'll move along. Cassia Rolex, an interesting name. Does remind me a bit of just remind me a bit of Gallagher. Other than that, not a lot, honestly. Design's cool. Got a bit of a cowboy theme going on. One of the deputy arenas, there is a deputy arena. Maybe it's that building we saw and you can see in the trailer with like the star symbol. Looks like the similar symbol at least. So one of the deputy arena masters of Leah's arena. So works in some sort of arena. I know some have been saying things like, oh, it's like a Pokemon game, maybe, you know. with some of the stuff going around. You know, like being said and so unofficially, you know, and it's like, I get it, I get the comparison. I'll say quickly, this is my thoughts on that. There's other things than just Pokemon for, like, you know, these type of games. You got Yokai Watch, you got Digimon. Now Digimon's more data, Yokai Watch is more spirits, Pokemon is more pocket monsters, and of course creatures. But there's other stuff as well. I've had some say like Arena could be like Gym Master, but I'd like to first learn more about what Arena maybe might mean, because it could be some. I think it's going to be something else. We'll see though. It has some shared battles, of course, because that's what arenas are like usually used for. They're used for arena competitions or, you know, some sort of battling. But I'm trying to not one-to-one it too much of like other franchises and more try and think of it in its own thing. Because Mihoyo really do usually make quite creative stuff. Even if they do necessarily do what, you know, people are thinking, that's fine. It's just I'd like to think about outside the box on it. I like the gun. The gun looks even a bit quantum-like with this colour, to be honest. Quite quantum state. But I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying it has that colour scheme to me. Even this kind of like game-like colours and stuff reminds me of Silverwolf a bit, to be honest. And like stuff to do with data and reality. Not so graffiti, I guess. But again, I get it could just be like splash arts or just artworks. I get that. Yeah, Casio Rolex. And I will say this, apparently these are 2 watch brands, so that's interesting, but I don't know too much about that, to be honest. I don't think, yeah, we haven't got this one listed either. We haven't got this one listed on the Anima thing either, actually. Like, you could say the Anima list of things. So I wonder what this one's called. See it in the trailer as well, actually, chasing the, what's it called? What was it called again? It was called... yeah, give me a minute. Let me get it. What were you called? I have it here. I'm gonna learn these names eventually. There you are. Yeah, Foolhardy. There we go. It was you. Right, back up here. So yeah. I remember seeing this chase Foolhardy. He had like a spear, I think. Next we've got Maple Manibel. Like the little background and stuff. Looks a bit Arabian. Does that make sense? Like the kind of like Arabian theme, this kind of thing here. Very like mythical, like a bit folktale-y, if that makes sense, or to do with like fantasy and stuff. One of the deputy arena masters. See, again, I get that could be seen as like maybe a gym leader or something, but again, we don't know what this is yet. It's deputy, so I don't know. Then they're all is deputy. Well, deputy to me more implied something to do with like that station thing, not so much this. Either way, of Leah's arena. Yeah, specifically Leah's arena. Yeah, the area Leah, I'm guessing, or plane Leah, if it is a plane. When the planes seem to be more concepts, I'm unsure. Between a young age and extremely eccentric way of thinking, it's entirely possible she hasn't a clue that she's serving as a deputy and arena master. Not much to say, honestly. I like the little stars, and yeah, that's about it. And yeah, you got the weird avocado-looking Anima. Along with Foolhardy again. It's the theme. So that's the thing, with some of these Anima maybe more reflecting like the theme of Leah or something. And then we got Kiana, which is one of the more, I'd say, exciting ones of the others, at least in my personal opinion for me. Because, you know, we have Kiana in Honkai Impact 3rd, we have Kiana in GGC Honkai Gakuen, also known as Gun Girl Z. We don't have a Kiana yet in Honkai Star Rail, but maybe one day we will. But yeah, Kiana's quite an important character, you know, for all the overall, like, Honkai lore and all the different, like, games that have, you know, a Kiana. A plane strider, so that to me implies something similar to like a path strider or something like that, but it's more to do with planes, or what I mean by that is like it's someone who might be travelling planes, what I mean, or has something to do with planes specifically. A plane strider on a long journey, it says long journey, so she's either been on a long journey or is... Yeah, it sounds like she's been on a long journey according to this. Currently dealing with an aspect fracture on behalf of the Committee for a Joyful Leah. Apparently this is Honkai the whole thing here, the fracture word, but Honkai and Cien can just, you know, can just translate to collapse in English. And fractures would go to that kind of thing. But I did see another thing saying that it might not be Honkai, it's more sundering is Honkai, but we'll see, I need more information. But yeah, she's currently dealing with a aspect fracture, or some sort of, I'd say, let's call it distortion or problem, which I assume something to do with Honkai, or some sort of collapse, or some form of something, on behalf of the Committee for a Joyful Leah. Don't know if that means she's part of Leah, if she's maybe part of somewhere else, and maybe she's just helping while she's here. But as you know, this Kiana's got a bit of a thing that reminds you of, like, the Winter... Yeah, the Winter Princess, I think, design it was, or I forgot the full name, but you know, the one with, like, the outfit you see in the second eruption. But she does look very different to our Kiana, so I don't think this is our Kiana. I think this is a variant, I feel like, of our Kiana. Or some other form of, like, Kiana, but it's definitely not R1 unless Kiana suddenly changed appearance and changed a lot about herself. She's also got, like, a 4-leaf clover here, it looks like, unless that's not a clover and I'm misunderstanding. Got a donut on her shirt? I'll say it's now we're on the topic as well, with all the food theme stuff and sugary stuff and so on, reminds me of the sugars a bit in Honkai Impact 3rd. I'm not saying they're going to appear here, but I find it interesting all the different sugar and food theme stuff going on. It reminds me of the sugars a bit. And it's just like dimensions and stuff, so it would be interesting if that does come into play, but I don't think it will. And she's of course here with her Puddlin Pup, I think it's called, the name is from memory. A doggo made of like pudding. But yeah, I'm interested to see what is going on with this Kiana and stuff. So that's the others. I'll be honest with you, apart from Kiana, I do like some of the other ones here too, but I'm mainly interested to see what's going on with Kiana, to be honest. And yeah, I like the design, the theme. You obviously got like, you know, the baseball bat, the orange and black theme, the stars. You've got all the different parts of like Kiana's design from different like Kiana battle suits or costumes or things to do with Kiana all on this Kiana. So that is nice to see. What more had my interest was, well, the Sovereigns. Like, if you watch the trailer and stuff, it feels like they were going to go for a more, like, and I didn't feel like this for a minute, because obviously it's a Hoyo game, so I thought the opposite, but if you watch it, you'll see, like, lots of, like, I'd say, comedic, happy, smiley, cheerful, you could say, vibes or feelings. And then you read this, and you get a completely other feeling. At least I did. I'm surprised why the trailer didn't feel like it had any of this in it as well, but maybe they want to save it for the website page and then save it for the actual game, is my guess. But I'm really excited for Victus. So you've got Order and Chaos Victus. The first sovereign, master of order and chaos, and who is now the Novarch of Order. Prior to the Sundering, which apparently is Honkai, he defeated the World Ender 7 times, destroying them twice. We'll say apparently, I'm saying like apparently this does translate to Honkai, or at least fits. No, apparently it does, from what a lot have been saying. But I'm just taking that as Sundering being another name for Honkai at this point, because they've done it before. They've done it with the word Abyss. But, you know, remember, like with Honkai, for example, remember, for, like, Venus, they called it the Abyss. And then for Mars, they're calling it so far Shadows, if that is necessarily Honkai. And then for, like, another thing, they also called it Calamities and Pollutants. So, well, more so, I guess Pollutants would be the word, because the other one was another thing with it. But anyway, Honkai can have different names. So if they go with Sundering for, let's say, the English translation, and it's always like Honkai, let's say, in the Cien translation, be a bit annoying, but it's fine, because it's just giving Honkai another name for another, let's say, we don't know where this exactly takes place, but we'll get into that a bit later. I'm thinking right now it's to do with these planes, and I've got a bit more to say, but we'll leave that for now. But yeah, prior to the Sundering, so prior to the Honkai, or prior to the Sundering, he defeated the World Ender, don't know who this is, 7 times, destroying them twice. What I don't understand is it's saying, you know, defeated the World Ender 7 times, and then says destroying them twice. So how does that work? Is it like 7, 7, which equals 14, and that's destroying them twice? Or is it more saying, you know, defeating them 7 times meant destroying them twice? And does that mean the world ender has to be destroyed more than once? What does destroying them exactly mean and stuff? It's very vague, but very interesting. As it says here as well for sovereigns, the owners of the aspects of the old world, rulers of the mortal world wielding power and authority. So all these, you know, owners of the aspects of the old world. Which is interesting. It means there's an old world and then a new world. And Genshin have a bit of a thing talking about an old world as well. Stuff like the Fatui and stuff. Also, of course, in like the, what's it called again? Kind of speculating and theorizing right now, pieces of half. Where with me? You've also got like things to do with the Fanes in the book before Sun and Moon. It sounds like there was kind of like, you know, an old world, like the 7 Dragon Lords and the 7 Sovereigns. And then, of course, you have, you know, the new world where you have the Archons. Also, in the word sovereign as well, you also had, called the first, like, the sovereign of anti-entropy and stuff. So the word has been used a bit. Sovereign's been used quite a bit throughout some of Hoyo's games. It says rulers of the mortal world wielding power and authority. Power and authority is a very common thing in, well, any Hoyo game, but also very much so Honkai Impact 3rd. I think it's also a thing in GGZ, but I haven't obviously seen too much of GGZ. I've only seen a certain amount in Retro, so I can't say too much on that, but there definitely is things to do with authority there. 100%. I'm just going with my more obviously know which is in Honkai Impact 3rd. And of course the word authority could be like a power, can't it, or rule, or some sort of thing you have ownership of, so... I understand the versatility for the wording. But yeah, aspects of the old world. And aspects is a thing, but we'll get into that later. Also, say this right now, he's also a Novarch, which means he's not just, you know, got something to do with the old world, he's something to do with the new world as well, which is interesting. Oh yeah, I'll say now, in terms of if the characters look similar, because I have been doing that obviously, he reminds me of Void Archives a bit with the black and gold. Mainly just the black and gold and white and some of like the symbols. I'm not saying they're exactly the same, I'm just saying this looks like a bit like a suit that Void Archives like obviously would have had for clothing. So you've seen his outfit and stuff, and it fits this kind of colour scheme. That doesn't mean it has anything to do with Void Archives, I'm just saying it reminds me of them. One thing I have heard people say, which is fair, which I didn't notice, yeah, it is a bit like, at least the eye is a bit more like a Herisher, a bit more like, this isn't something I would not notice, by the way, it's just like I'm obviously going to take credit for obviously things I've heard here and there, but yeah, it does remind me a bit of like a Herisher or some sort of like, you know, powerful being, considering also what you read here. But I really like the design, and yes, the blonde hair obviously reminds me of like Void Archives for how long it is, and obviously reminds me a bit of Otto as well, because obviously, you know, and then obviously Luocha, you already get all that, I'm sure, with how similar, I mean, don't get me wrong, this doesn't remind me too much of Luocha, because you don't see too much here that really reminds you of Luocha. Just bringing them up because of obviously the whole alt variant thing of remember Otto, Luocha, Void Archives, you know, so on. Of course, Void Archives more took the appearance they took because of Otto, but... I mean, there's also, I guess, some theory or speculation who could have maybe had that, like, as their original, like, look, couldn't they? But yeah. And obviously the Void Archives we see mainly in, like, APHO and stuff is mainly just a Solian body, which is, again, to do with Otto again, so it makes sense why he still looks like Otto more, so... But they have shown you, like, what Void Archives I think might look like, it's just, like, the silhouette, right? And the shadowy, like, form may appear. But anyway, that's not the point. But yeah, Order and Chaos, well, Order reminds me of Zhongli a bit, to be honest. And Chaos reminds me of... not really anyone, to be honest. We haven't really got a specific thing for Chaos, last I checked. There might be something, but it's nothing that comes to my mind. Yeah, they're the main things that come to mind, and I have heard some see it as like Nouvelet a bit, which I can see, but I don't know too much about Nouvelet other than him being a, you know, the Water Dragon and one of the Sovereigns, so can't say too much on that. I like the halo, or at least like design thing up here, and the black and white again. Again, that similar like black and white and gold color scheme that reminds me of certain things. Now it does look like here there's some sort of teal and some blue. Well, yeah, mainly teal to be honest. It's not really anything else. Also, yeah, this bit's the stuff in the background a bit, like the stars and like the circles and then the lines. You got that similar color scheme reflecting here, and then like the black and the gold here. And then you go to other, it still has that I think for the other actually, doesn't it? Oh, I see. No, other doesn't have the black and the gold. I didn't realise that. All right, that's a nice detail. All right. Hang on, let me check something. Is Nova got it still? Or did they lose a colour? I just want to check something. A minute. No, that's not it. Bear with me. No, I think Novak's got it as well. It looks like. I don't see any difference with the colour here. Is it missing anything? I don't think so. Alright, we'll move on. But yeah, also the first, obviously, I mean, Order reminds me a bit of Reason again, but that's not the exact same thing. Also the first Sovereign, you know, again, I've already said, that reminds me of Welt a bit, just that little bit there, but that doesn't have anything to do with Welt necessarily. Yeah, it's now, yeah, of course. We read the rest. So here you've got Reality and Illusion Kumyo Kyo. This was another example when I read this one's like thing. I was like, wow, it seems like we're getting some big stuff here. And it says the fourth Sovereign, Master of Reality and Illusion, so that's interesting. Reminds me of Shadows a bit, but again, yeah, Reality and Illusion. He vanished after the Sundering, so he vanished after the Honkai, vanished after whatever the Sundering is. Darcy's elder brother, don't know who that is. He fulfilled, I think it's him who fulfilled it. It says Darcy's elder brother, he fulfilled his promise to her. I think he is Darcy's elder brother, it sounds like. Unless he's not. He fulfilled his promise to her, don't know who the her is, and sealed the world end within the plane of illusion. So that was an example of us gaining an idea of what one of the planes are. You know, we got to learn that, you know, plane of illusion is a thing. And apparently the world end has been sealed in there. But then here's the thing. I don't get how you have, let's say, he defeated the world under 7 times, destroying them twice. And then apparently they've also been sealed within the plane of illusion. So was that after they were like... Is that after, like, they were destroyed twice? And then still to be sealed in a plane? To be fair, I'm not saying a plane as in a, you know, a vehicle. I mean like a plane as in like a dimensional, like, layer, I guess. Or, you know, whatever you want to call a plane in this instance of, like, surface or... I'm not an expert on planes, to be clear. But yeah, it's interesting. That's another thing then being done to the World Ender. We don't know why. Don't know who the World Ender is again. Yeah, you got a bit like the moon cycle here. On the parasol. They also, even if of course they obviously more remind me of, you know, Aether or Aether. Yeah, Aether from, you know, Genshin Impact, a bit with their design, which could mean they're like an, you know, an Aether variant. What's interesting to think about it is then also, because this is about reality and illusion, the illusion part reminds me of Mafema or Yankuing in, you know, Honkai Impact 3rd. Give him a minute, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6th disciple, right? Should be the 6th disciple of Filwa. Yeah, the 6th disciple of Master Phoenix. What he was able to do with either his, I'd have to double check, it's either... In fact, I'm giving you the correct info, give me a minute. It states here that yes, I could show you on Discord, but I don't have it posted somewhere else because I was discussing it at one point with someone. And I wouldn't have actually come up with this without having this discussion, so I'm going to take credit for that, obviously. But it was an interesting little, like, thing pointed out that was like, oh, it's an interesting thought. It does say here, the screenshots I also looked at, you know, like, in the Shattered Sword visual novel. Let me check, please, let me check. Thank you. Right. It quotes here. This is not going to be a shorter thing, by the way. It's going to be quite long. Got a lot to say. That's why it took nearly like 5-7 hours to start the stream. As I just decided we better prepare everything and think about everything first and then start talking. But you're gonna have to let me get the things. There we are. Right. So according to like chapter 20 of Honkai Impact, you know, Marfama's, you know, Crimson Shadow, you know, was able to, you know, steal the light. That's a bit to do reality, but that's not so much the point. But then, you know, it's also called Crimson Shadow, which again, that reminds me of things to do with illusions and stuff. And you also got shadows in like part 2 and Honkai Impact 3rd that also stuff to do with illusions as well. I know it sounds like a stretch, but I'm using all the pieces I've got. And again, this is speculation and theory. Take it all with a grain of salt. But in the Shattered Sword, you know, visual novel, you had, of course, Marfama say, "All right, then let's see if Unbreakable Edge can break my technique." When he's speaking to Ling Shuang. Ling Shuang is the 5th disciple of, you know, Fuwa, or Master Phoenix. And then it says here, you know, further on, as soon as the words left his mouth, brilliant light shone from Crimson Shadow. The whole courtyard seemed to be engulfed in a vapory bubble. The lights dimmed and flickered. As he shouted, Marfama suddenly split into 2 exact copies. Marfama's Yankuing, to be clear. And yes, we also have a Yankuing in Honkai Star Rail, so yes, that does apply here as well, but I'm thinking of Honkai Impact 3rd's one, to be clear. This is the Blade Will of the 6th Disciple, Crimson Shadow. So yeah. It was the Blade's Will, that's what I was checking. Because there's different aggravates to Taishuan, so I was just checking the actual, like, part of it, and it's the Blade's Will that did this. By first pouring his chi into the Shaoyun sword, you know, the different, all the different swords, well, the different, these Shaoyun swords that, you know, of course, existed, that would have come from, of course, you know, the 10th Harisha, the Harisha of Legion and stuff, you know, because of obviously what happened in previous era. That's why there were so many of the different swords that were all Shaoyun swords, with, of course, different powers in them. And then they could be awakened through certain things that we're not going into because I'm trying to stay on topic. Then using his Blade Will, it manipulates chi to create light refractions. Yeah, Blade's Will, like I said. After many years of cultivation, Marfama's Blade Will is now able to create illusions however he wished. And so 2 became 4, 4 became 8, 8 became 100, and 100 became thousands. But again, that's just giving an example of how this could also be potentially because of the blonde hair and stuff, you know. It could also be something to do with, let's say, you know, Marfama or Yankuing. It's more likely Aether, though, to be honest. But I still thought I'd bring it up because I find it interesting. It says reality and illusion, and someone to point out like illusion. Oh, wasn't one of those carrots of doing? It's like, oh yeah, maybe. Again, it's all theory. Don't know who Darcy's is. I like the moon in the background, the water underneath. Very interested. You also see them riding on one of the anima, like one of the horses, like horse ones. It looked like. I could get the name, but I mean, I guess while I'm here, it's not too bad to hop between. I have everything before me. That's why I've done it like this. Oh dear, Discord. Don't do that. Don't know what happened then. This one. Yeah, Damask. You saw him riding Damask in the trailer. Don't know why he was riding it, but he was riding it. Is it not posted? Huh? Confusion. Is it not posted? It's further up. I'm sorry, confused for a minute. Yeah, you see him riding Damask here in the trailer. Stretch, thank you for the stretch, Walsh. I've barely sat down though, so I will stretch later, but thank you for the redeem. Thank you for stretching the mirror. Just reminded me of Vision a bit when I first saw it, because the symbol. obviously it probably isn't now re-looking at the image here I was talking about. That's clearly not a vision, so we can ignore that idea now, but outside of that, it looked a bit like one for a minute. I do like the eyes, actually, the colour of them. Oh yeah, these like badges, maybe? I could see that, like badges, yeah, or some sort of like medallions. Reminds me a bit of the Wonder in Genshin, to be honest, with the design as well. Again, just some of the themes. I really like Kumyo Kyo. Very cool design. But yeah, we have to learn what all this means eventually. Right, next. Life and Death. Amstradath. Just like a bit Blade-like, to be honest with the design, even though we know Blade's already in the game, obviously, because they, we got shown they're a Novark. It's a very interesting design. You got like, it's like notes, talismans, the face is like covered, a bit demon-like with the horns. This specific horn actually looks like one of the things to do with like Kevin's deliverance, mantis-like form in the Honkai Impact 3rd, like of course, thing. Again, just this horn specifically looks like part of his back, one of the back parts of the black and blue. I'm not saying it is, but it reminds me of that. I'll go into what I mean in a minute as well. Again, very like demon devil theme, to be honest. Very interesting design though. The 5th Sovereign, Master of Life and Death. So I know we have the 6th Heresher, of course, in Honkai Impact 3rd, which the Heresher of Death, but at least the Authority, Death and stuff, but they picked 5 here, which is interesting. Master of Life and Death. So then, speaking of Life and Death, more reminded me of like Heresher of Rebirth with Sele and stuff. But, because, Withering and Creation with the Authorities, and Life and Death's a bit like that. But anyway, back to this Life and Death. Okay, that's interesting. So they're the Master of Life and Death. We go back to what we were saying. He now rules the planes of life and death. Through his, so apparently there's a plane of life and death, which means there's like 2 different like parallels there, which is interesting. For his status as though his status as a Novark is unknown. So what he took in future, I guess, what he became, in the new world, that's unknown. He once signed a pact of rebirth with the World Ender, granting them immortality. Hello, Eclipse. Hope you're doing well. I will give you a heads up now. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the 1 bit. I am going over Honkai Nexus Anima, but I'm literally speaking on, like, all of the different, like, games and stuff for certain things, so it might spoil you if you stay. As much as I'm happy to have you here, you're free to lurk, of course. And if you want to be here, that's fine. I am speaking literally on everything right now, so I give you a heads up. I finished chapter 23 earlier. I think it was 23. Nice. We're talking about things probably further than that. Let me just give you a shout out. You want to check out another person that enjoys more horror games, or is enjoying, of course, them these days? Check out Eclipse. But yeah, I always like to warn people while I'm doing anything lore-based, if I know they're not up to date, what I'll be talking about, so be wary if you do want to avoid spoilers right now. I've been speaking about Honkai Impact 3rd, a bit of Honkai Star Rail, a bit of Genshin Impact, and of course, all the stuff in Honkai Nexus Anima that's been revealed, at least officially. If I even remember. Alright, fair enough. So as we're saying about, I hope you're doing well, Eclipse. I hope your day is going well, or night, wherever you are, if it's night or day. I'm really, really excited for this game. Like, there's some really, really good lore. Like, the trailers are nice, but the website has so much nice lore. I'm really, really interested. Yeah, so I was saying, his status as Novark is unknown. He once signed a pact of rebirth with the World Ender, granting them immortality. The reason this is interesting is because, did have, at least, like, a pact with, in one of the Honkai Impact 3rd chapters, you do learn about, like, things, like, there is, like, a thing to do with, like, a pact and stuff, that is there's to do with like immortality and stuff. You've also got stuff in like Honkai Star Rail to do with the what's it called? The Mara Struck? Yeah, the Mara Struck, that was it. That also stuff to like do with immortality. And you had, of course, like the Manus Vindictus. I don't know if that's the full name. Like faction worshipping the abundance. And specifically stuff to do with like, you know, the again, immortality. We've had quite a few themes recently, or at least for different points in games, coming up with like the theme of immortality and stuff. So we're seeing it here again, which is interesting, with Amstradath. And I wonder if this could connect maybe to like, you know, the Scions of Permanence, you know, again, stuff to do with immortality. Again, stuff to do with Aeons, like Aeon, like the Long. But we'll see. Again, I still need to actually learn more about stuff to do with Permanence. I only know some stuff through Star Rail, and of course, I've seen a Honkai Impact 3rd. But yeah, immortality. So, we all know that as a topic and concept. It says they once signed a pact of rebirth with the World Ender, though. You know, the same World Ender that seems to have been sealed in the Plane of Illusion, and then at least also defeated them Invictus defeated them 7 times, destroying them twice. So this World Ender's had, unless there's more than one, has had a lot of, it seems, dealings with different sovereigns, which does make sense, I guess, if the World Ender has to do with the said sovereigns. But yeah, they were granted immortality, apparently, so wonder how that went. And also the Master of Life and Death. Then you've got Light and Dark Almond. Quite like the little dragon, like, anime I'm guessing here. Again, this isn't listed right now, I don't know what this is. I'm guessing it's an anime, or it's some sort of manifestation to do with Almond. Maybe something to do with his sovereign powers. Also some bats. The 8th Sovereign, Master of Light and Dark. So again, you've got parallels of light and dark. And of course, to create shadows, you need light, and vice versa. Who is now the Novarch of Dark. So they were the Master of Light and Dark, and then they only became the Novarch of Dark. And why'd they lose the light part? He imprisoned the Novarch of Light. Yeah, it's just someone, obviously, which we know, one of the characters he imprisoned, which we'll get to in a minute. He imprisoned the Novarch of Light, that's true. He is now seeking a way to overcome the Sunbane Curse. Well, immortality is a bit like a curse, so I was wondering if that has something to do with it, but it sounds like the Sunbane Curse is, I'm gonna guess something to do with probably the light? Probably the Novarch of Light and why they sealed them? Or maybe by sealing the Novarch of Light, that caused the Sunbane Curse. Very interested to learn what that curse is, though. Oh yeah, there's also a little cute thing down here, unless this evolves into this. Although, again, this looks more like light, and this looks like dark, so maybe this is the light-like anima or something, and this is the dark one? Got little fangs as well, which is cute. I really like the light coming off here with the outfit up here. And the clawed-like hand. Just remind me of something. I mean, I guess the colours remind me a bit of Cerealia a bit, actually. Yeah, they do remind me of Cerealia a bit, actually, the colours. Yeah, this is actually quite quantum-like, actually, this colour, now I think about it. Quantum state. Again, though, don't know. Yeah, there's a little star up there as well. We'll move on. Infinity and Finity. I don't know what Finity is, because I would have thought finite would have fit more as a word, and I think in the CN, at least when you translated the page on the CN website, it did translate to infinity or infinite and finite, which would make more sense. But in the end, it does say infinity, infinity here, and I quite like things to do with infinity, so that's interesting because, you know, it reminds me of Mobius, and it reminds me of the Ouroboros, and reminds me of things to do with the concept of infinity. But also, as we've seen, like, without going too much into the details, we have had a thing where you see someone become an infinite being, and then being turned to a finite being by renormalization. So, that's interesting. That's a nice little thing there, but I don't know if it has anything to do with this. Their name is Aperon? The 28th Sovereign, so a bit of a jump in numbers, because clearly I'm missing some Sovereigns there by the numbers I've been counting. We've seen the 1st, the 5th, the 8th, and the 4th. So we're missing 2, we're missing 3, we're missing basically all the numbers I did not just mention, all the way up to 28. I don't know how many sovereigns there are though, because it doesn't actually state how many there are. The 28th Sovereign and Master of Infinity, rumored to be dead for a time. Apparently rumored. I don't know why it's rumored, but apparently it was. Reappeared after the Sundering, so reappeared after the Honkai. Again, if we follow the logic of Sundering being Honkai, and also the TL being saying Honkai. Laying such rumours to rest. So it seems the rumours weren't true and she was alive. I don't know exactly what it means to be a Master of Infinity. Can you make things necessarily, you know, become finite and infinite? That would be my main guess, but we'll see. Reminds me of Acheron a little bit in design, but not so much as well. A bit of Sele as well, and some colours as well. Again, not every character has to look obviously like characters we've seen before. I'm just saying some bits that remind me of them, with some of the colours and some of the themes. They can literally be their own characters, and that's completely fine. Right. Now we'll get on to what the Novark part is, where it felt, you know, I felt a bit like overwhelmed when I read this part here, saying Novark, saying the owners of the aspects of the new world. So that's the new world, so that's when a new world exists, just like an old world exists. Each ruling one of the 81 planes. Apparently there's 81 planes. I don't know if that means just like authorities or concepts, or if that has a bit more to it. There is a thing on planes and aspects, another thing we'll be getting to in a minute. I'm just going for the characters first. So then I can more go into what I want to go into. Victus again, as I already said, he's a Sovereign and a Novark. I did say that on the Sovereign part. Once the first Sovereign Master of Order and Chaos, and who is now the Novark of Order. Presides over the Court of Dragons. There's apparently a Court of Dragons. I know we had old dragon rulers in Genshin, so maybe that's what that's going on about, or maybe it's saying a lot of the sovereigns, or at least, oh, actually no, it's the Novarks. So the Court of Dragons would be things to do with Novarks, wouldn't it? Not so much a thing to do with sovereigns, I'm guessing. That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting then, because that would mean the dragon thing would still be a thing. I mean, that's fair. It's tire of a story probably, but still, it's interesting that. There's still things to do with dragons, even in the new world. All right. Managing the laws of the 81, the laws estates. So, like, you know, the rules you could say, or maybe, like, the, you know, to do with the 81 planes, to safeguard against the ravages of chaos. I don't know if that's to do with the World Ender again, or if the ravages of chaos is something else. It says they're the Master of Order and Chaos. So does that mean there's some sort of thing to do with chaos that... Well, I guess it's once, doesn't it? So maybe they lost against? Well, they didn't lose, but... Well, yeah, they just as now they're a Novark of Order. So they lost the chaos part. Which makes sense, because, like, you know... where is it? Yeah, they lost that aspect. That makes sense, yeah. So now... Well, not aspect, but they lost that thing that they were a master of. So now they're only a Master of Order. Or at least a Novark of Order in this case, not even a Master now. So I don't know how big the gap is of what that is, or if it's more like... Now something's more... There's two ways to look at this. It's either they became weaker in a way and they've now lost something, or they became stronger in a way and had to lose something to now be on a more, like, you could say, purer form of it in concept, maybe? That's how it feels like to me. Because they're still around. But it says they're now going against the ravages of chaos, which sounds like their authority or thing they would have had when they were a master of it, being a master of order and chaos when they were a sovereign. Interesting. This is the one that got sealed by, what's your name again? Armand? Yeah, there we go. Who didn't seem to be a sovereign? Prabhas? Or wait, is it Prabhas? Yeah, it's not an O, is it? Yeah, it's Prabhas, I think. But yeah, they seem to only be a Novark. So some things have only been Novarks, or there was something that's happened that maybe something like her was maybe a sovereign, but it doesn't say anything here, so I assume she's just a Novark. the Novark of Light, which is what Armand would have had, and a Sunfire Monk of the Old World. Ah, there we go. So I'm guessing she cursed probably... Oh, that makes sense then. So she cursed probably... Armand would be my guess, in theory. With, you know, as a Sunfire Monk, you know, in the Old World. And then he imprisoned her. Yeah, imprisoned by Armand the Dark. That makes sense, but why did she do that then? That's interesting too as well. It shows then, you notice you have to be a sovereign. You could just be, let's say, a monk in this case of the Old World, and still made a big impact. Which makes sense. You can have characters that do that. Looks like a bit of a wanderer. She doesn't particularly remind me of anyone. I mean, the leaves and a bit of themes remind me a bit of like stuff to do with, I don't know, I guess a bit of like the wanderer kind of theme. And the golden leaves a bit remind me of, I guess, stuff to do with like things to do with that a bit, maybe Fang one down, but no. Honestly, I'm not sure what she reminds me exactly of. I do like this mark here though on the outfit. A lot of like stars as well. Yeah, very interesting design. Not got too many thoughts on it other than this, honestly. Which it's interesting how they didn't say about the curse here. So was there something else going on? But it says about Sunfire Monk, so I assume she's the reason for the curse, maybe. Oh, Sunbane. Hang on. Is it Sunbane or Sunrise? No, it is Sunbane. Okay. Sunbane curse. That's different then. She says she's a monk of Sunfire. It's a Sunbane curse. I mean, it could still be. It just has a different name. It has something to do with the sun. But Sunfire and Sunbane sound quite different. Anyway, Armand, once the 8th Sovereign, yeah, we know that, Master of Light and Dark, who is now the Novark of Dark. Yeah, because they lost the light aspect, it seems. He imprisoned the Novark of Light, and is now seeking a way to overcome the Sunbane curse. Yeah, same thing. Then we got Blade. This is one more of the interesting ones to speak about. So we know Blade, at least, you know, is a character in Honkai Star Rail. Now, that's not to say this is our Blade. Now, I'm not saying it isn't our Blade, because it looks exactly like him, and there is just no difference in design. The story's different, obviously, but there's nothing to say Blade himself doesn't end up here. Similar to how Well ended up, obviously, you know, traveling, you know, you could say worlds, because it was worlds, you know, to Honkai Star Rail, or at least more into space, wasn't it? And then got found by the Astral Express, but yeah, still worlds. So that could be our example of having a character like that, someone who, it's not a variant, it is just Blade. That makes you then wonder where this might take place in the timeline. This could obviously happen at any point. In the end of the day, Blade doesn't have to remain in the, you could say, story of Honkai Star Rail, even though he is part of the Stellaron Hunters. But that does imply then that it would be after Honkai Star Rail, which I found a little hard to believe. I guess it could happen before? Still not sure when this game takes place, because there's not actually a clear timeline for this game yet, obviously. But anyway, let's just say for now, it is our Blade, hypothetically in theory. Or it is a variant, doesn't matter either way. But right now it doesn't at least. Blade, the 22nd Novark, and Master of the Plane known as the Peak. I wonder what it means by the Peak, because it doesn't really say, but I have seen some saying it could be something to do with mountains and stuff, and that's fair. But yeah, he's the Master of the Plane known as the Peak. So I wonder what that's about. One of the Phoenix Breaker Novarks, apparently there's a thing called a Phoenix Breaker Novark, and I know it brings, the next character also speaks about that, I think, as well. So that's some sort of group or faction, maybe, for Phoenix Breaker Novarks, is my theory. Or not even theory, it's what I think from what I've read here. He is searching for the missing 11th Sovereign, who we don't know who that is, that's unknown, we don't have who that is. I've heard some say it could be like a Danhang variant, or it could be some sort of like thing, you know, similar. But we don't know who that is, who the missing 11th Sovereign is. So that's unknown. He's got a really cute looking Q-Blade here. It looks like he's looking up to him. I'm very curious to see how connected these two are. in terms of like their essence or existence, because I had a bit of a theory when I first like saw the thing for Honkai Nexus Anima of like pets would be, or anima in this case, but we knew they were called anima, because obviously pets back then, would be maybe like to do with a character's like essence. I mean, one point I had a theory like that there'd be some sort of thing like some of the characters appearing here be like based off data, because we only had Kiana and Blade revealed a ton of silhouettes. So I felt like I had like characters gonna like their own like data and essence and not actually here, gonna be some sort of dream thing. Like, no, I think it's less that, and it's probably more they're actually here on planes. I don't know how he got here, but he is here. So I'm really interested to see what's going on with that. Also, yes, he fits with the whole thing of also the immortality theme again, because he is Mara struck, so that would fit with the immortality theme again. He wants to die after all, and is unable to die, as we have seen. I don't think it's some sort of afterlife, this game. I think it is, like, just another plane or place of existence. I don't know if it's a world, or if it's a bubble world, or so if it's a proper real world, or if it's a bubble world, or if it's, even as some of the things seem to be suggesting, potentially another universe. I know that sounds wrong, considering what we understand about, you know, Law and Hoyo lore being the overall one universe, and all the games that are, you know, Honkai Impact 3rd, Genshin Impact, and Honkai Star Rail, and also, of course, GGZ, even if people want to debate it a bit. We're not getting into all that for now. You know, are in the overall one universe. It does feel there's some implications, if you read some stuff we're going to get to in a minute, that there is potentially like something outside of that overall universe. And again, it's not the first time that kind of thing's come up, of course. But again, that'd be outside of the overall universe they've been building, obviously. Otherwise, it'd be something else that one of the things I said, or some sort of like dimension or other like weird space. But there's 81 planes, so that makes you wonder. Anyway, we're going to have to wait for more information, because we generally don't know. Here we have someone again who wasn't... Well, actually, it does say... It says she was a sovereign, but we didn't have a page for a sovereign, so that was interesting. Para Yaya. Like a design. Nice little heart theme. Looks cute. Little demon-like. The current Novarch of Hate. So hate, apparently. Prior to the Sundering, prior to the Honkai, she was the 14th Sovereign Master of Love and Hate. So apparently she was Master of Love and Hate, and then became only one of Hate, not Love. So something happened, I think, with the love aspect, something to do with like a love in concept. After the Sundering, after the Honkai, she joined the Phoenix Breaker Novarch. So yeah, there's a group of Novarchs that are in this thing called the Phoenix Breaker, it seems. Some sort of faction, I'm guessing, or group. Seeking the World Ender, again the World Ender, who so ruthlessly betrayed her. So apparently she's betrayed by the World Ender. The World Ender's done a lot, it seems, or if there is more than one, I don't know. Which is interesting. I haven't really got much more to say, honestly, because we need more information. But I hope me talking and discussing and saying what I'm saying is making some things a bit more clear, as I'm trying my best. With what we have for information. Then you got Sir Champion. We want to see if the design reminds you of the Honkai Star Rail set that has the red and the blue and the gold and the silver. I don't know the name of it, but it reminds you of that. And yes, also a nice like armor and stuff reminds you a bit of like, you know, well, Sam and stuff in Honkai Star Rail. You know if you know. Anyway, Sir Champion. Current Novarch of competition. That was one of the aspects. Yeah, true, actually, wasn't hate also one of the aspects? That's interesting. Yeah, it was. Okay, so some of the, I guess, planes, or at least some of the, you know, these, yeah, so it is aspects. These are aspects, yeah, because light and dark. Yeah, they are aspects, these titles then, aren't they? Although we haven't got chaos. We haven't had order as well for an aspect yet. We also haven't had... What else haven't we had? Is it just order and chaos we don't have? Oh, the peak, I guess. That'd be one. We have competition though, I know that's one of them. The current Novarch of competition, and formerly the sovereign who was the master of competition and cooperation. Okay, so that's another one. They have competition, but cooperation is gone. Well, maybe some aspects were lost after, of course, now going to the new world. That makes sense. Now the organizer of the amphitheater's grand champion. Yeah, the thing that was spoken about by, I think, what was his name? Hua? Yeah, Hua, and some others. Now the organizer of the amphitheater, oh yeah, the organizer, grand championship. None have seen the true face beneath the armor. So I don't want to bet this is going to be a female or a male under here or something, or someone else, like, you know, another type of gender. What do we think? What are we betting? Oh. And then we have Aperon again. This time, once the sovereign who was the master of Infinity, who is now the Novarch of Infinity. So that means they only became like infinite or stuff to do with Infinity, or it sounds like the finite part was lost, or at least the Infinity part was lost. It's been proven that Aperon isn't in the plane of Infinity, the circular station. Apparently that's what it's called. The plane of Infinity is called the circular station, which I guess it makes sense, like a circular wheel, maybe. Again, in theory. But that is all that is known regarding her whereabouts. Interesting. And that's all of them, I think. Yeah. So now we can get on to getting on to what aspects are and Nexus. Nexus first, then we'll get on to aspects, then we'll get on to some of my notes and thoughts, and then we'll get on to... This is just here, this Chinese translation. I don't actually know what this says, obviously. That's just there for reference if I actually want to ask people stuff in the future, or if I in my own time want to show this image and then maybe ask someone who might know. Anyway, let's read. A traveller's guide to the plains, and whoever this is here, shrouded in blue that we can't see, with like a star in the hand. Very Genshin-like this here, again. There's some Genshin-like themes, which again, has different Mohoyo-like art style, it feels like, in themes in these. Yeah, especially something like the bits in the background. That feels very Genshin again, which is nice. Anyway. Nexus refers, and just have quotation marks on the Nexus part, keep that in mind, refers to the fundamental connections between all things. So Nexus apparently is, you know, refers to the fundamental connection between all things. That's quite a big deal. That's why these feel like some very big, like, words put in terms of when you consider everything in cosmology-wise, which somehow is in the overall universe, which I'm guessing it's not, and it is connected, but it's outside of it, I'm guessing. I don't know how to word it. Anyway, in this universe, that's the first part, so it says in this universe. It says in this universe, so either it means, again, the whole singular thing we're talking about, or outside of it. Again, I'm not going to get too hung up on that, because we need more information and more context. There was once a time when nothing existed in true isolation. That means eventually things went into isolation, it seems, in terms of existence. Independent of outside influence. There was once a time when nothing existed in true isolation. Independent of outside influence. Independent of outside influence. So, does that mean things eventually from the outside influence affected, this said? Yeah, that means that comes into play then, doesn't it? Because it's saying there was once a time when nothing existed in true isolation. And now it does in some form, I'm guessing. Independent of outside influence. And then some outside influence came into play, I'm guessing. It was the Nexus that connected everything together. And these links were called Nexus threads. After the sundering, after the Honkai, after the collapse, after whatever you want to call this, the Nexus was broken. So yeah, somebody shattered it or broke it. Yeah, there it is. The Nexus was broken. Yeah, the thing that connected all these things, yeah. And stable connections between things were lost, whatever those stable connections fully were, of course, apart from what it says here. Nexus Anima. The shattered Nexus was scattered across the world. This is world here. That implies to me there's some sort of world here with these 81 planes, but don't know. Could be more than one world, maybe. Considering also what we know in other Mohoyo games. The shattered nexus are scattered across the world, the frayed pieces manifesting as creatures of aspect energy. Nexus Anima. Yeah, which I'm guessing would be the the creatures after all. So the shattered nexus scattered across the world, and the frayed pieces manifesting as creatures of aspect energy. Nexus Anima. So yeah, the creatures were formed from the shattered nexus. Which is kind of interesting to think about, something that big of a deal. Then creating creatures from it. Nexus battles. Animasters, yeah, the title. Pit Anima, yeah, the creatures, against one another in battle after the Sundering, again, the Honkai. Nexus battles have become the recognised method of resolving disputes across most planes. Which makes sense, yeah, you would fight, obviously, to some extent, probably to dispute whatever, I guess, problems are across planes? Again, I get it, because some are like, it seems like, you know, masters of planes, or, you know, they hold a certain thing, you know, they're not under, but you know, are in control of, so I could see why disputes may happen, especially with the whole thing also saying, like, also even the, saying this, like, it seems like a faction with, like, the Phoenix Breaker Nova arcs. The recognised method of resolving disputes across most planes, but I wonder why disputes are even happening to begin with. Aspects, these universes are, oh yeah, this is a note, these universes are called planes, is for now correct in CN. Yeah, the Chinese translation. I remember asking or looking around. Which I found a little alarming again for what I told you about, but let's not worry about it till we get more info. And if they do decide to build something outside the overall universe but it still connects in a way, that's fine. They can do that. It's Mihoyo's work. It's just for a very long time we've had only little mentions here and there. We've had mainly it's to be in an overall singular one universe with countless, you know, infinite worlds, and now you might be getting to other things, so it's just another layer getting added, potentially. As some would basically say it works like a multiverse, or functions like one, the overall, like, you know, overall universe, but it's not. It's an overall universe of countless worlds. It's not a multiverse. Though the multiverse does get mentioned at certain points, like in Honkai Star of, you know, Nyx and the Nihility. No, not Nyx. In the Nihility, in the databank of Nihility, and also, like, you know, Shakespeare and the Durandal visual novel, and then also, like, the word universes did come up properly one time with Sue in the second Key manga. But again, it's never really been gone more into, it's just more an idea of it existing. And then if that does exist, everything else would be, like, inside the overall universe, then everything else that is outside of it would be outside of that. But it still could be connected, potentially. But anyway, let's wait for more info. Planes. The Sundering severed the connections between the aspects, which we'll learn what that is in a minute, causing the world to collapse and break apart into pieces. Yes. The fragments forming... guessing the fragments of the world, right? What do you mean? Nexus was scattered across the world. Aspect. Yeah, the shattered nexus was scattered across the world. The frayed pieces manifesting creatures of aspect energy. Nexus Anima. And then, yeah, here, planes. The Sundering, or Honkai, you could say, sever the connections, or, you know, collapse them. Sever the connections between the aspects. I'm guessing the connections are the points that we just spoke about. Not the creatures, the actual, like, connections there would have been. That then became unstable. Causing the world to collapse. That makes sense. Again, it reminds me of Honkai. And break apart into pieces. The fragments forming 81 independent universes. Oh. Which implies the planes could... Yeah, these universes are called planes. So each plane sounds like it become its own independent universe, which feels really out there as a concept, but they can do it if they want. When I say out there, again, I mean, like, again, when you refer to how a lot of the cosmology is right now, I mean. And I know there's also the Honkai universe in terms of, like, you know, where the Honkai come from in GGZ, but I'm not going into that because I don't know enough on it, and I do know the idea of another universe existing does exist. It's just, I mean, the idea that 81 from a world, right, and a world breaking apart into pieces, and that the fragments forming 81 independent universes, these universes are called planes. That's just a bit to process, that's all. Anyway, aspects, which again, this sounds like paths a bit with some of the way they're going with philosophical stuff here, but we'll see. Aspects refer to philosophical and scientific concepts that constitute the foundations of the world. So like the rules, or like the structure, and formed the stable old world. Yeah, formed the stable old world. Yeah, and that was shattered, right? According to this, and then this, right? Or at least something along those lines. Because the old world's gone at this point, so the new world at this point, no? Unless you're going to give us a point where we actually see the old world, and then we go to the new world. In this game, there are two types of aspects. It says in this game, which is interesting. This means the actual game. There are two types of aspects. Those of the old world, which were paired such as light and dark. Yeah, like we saw with some of the sovereigns. Life and death, we saw with some of the sovereigns. Among many others. Yeah. The two parallels are the two things that the sovereigns would have had. And those of the new world, which are independent. That's why it's now one. Which are independent, such as light, dark, life, death, and so on. Yeah, they're all separate now. They're not linked. And again, that makes sense, because if the connections that were connected break, you'd only be left with one. I still believe there might be something to maybe a purer form now of that one, instead of having two, and being more mixed. But then again, yeah, it still sounds like balance was lost, because there was originally, like, duality wasn't there, or between two, wasn't there, and now it's one. Light, dark, life, death, and so on. Sovereigns, the owners of the old world, rulers of the mortal world wielding power and authority. Yeah, something, again, it seems more powerful, I don't know, or it seems like, again, it did say aspects here. Yeah, refer to philosophical and scientific concepts. Oh, so not just, So that's the thing here, it's not philosophical reminds you of paths a bit, but then scientific reminds you of other things. Well, yeah, science, I guess, boom. That's different, yeah. It's perhaps more to philosophy. They haven't really said about scientific thing in Star Rail, have they? It is for, like, you know, what a path is, I mean. So, like, saying philosophical and scientific concepts. It's like that broke off in a way, then, split into two things. Oh, that's interesting to think about. So one route maybe more scientific, the other route more philosophical, I guess? Maybe. Aspects refer to philosophical and scientific concepts that constitute the foundations of the world and form a stable old world in this game. There are two types of aspects, those of the old world, which are, yeah, we read all that before. Yeah. Noarchs, the owners of the aspects of the old new world. Yes, there's still aspects. It's not just one, not two. Each ruling one of the 81 planes. Japan is its own universe, but we'll see about that. You could still say, it could still just be a thing like, it could... No, it could be like Bubble Universe. Remember, Bubble Universes then be Bubble Worlds. That'd be a massive TL issue then. And apparently it is Universe right now, according to at least what I've heard. You know, from like when I was asking about it and stuff. You know, officially I was like asking about the translation in Chinese. So apparently it is Universes, or is Universe for like these different planes. So we'll see where that goes. And then I made a note for myself saying, TL stuff take with a grain of salt, as I don't translate and I'm going off what I have read from people who do. And also because, you know, TLs, you know, can have a lot to it, but I don't know it that well, I've told you. Also, like I say, it's in all images, the game is under development and subject to change, so all that we're reading now, all that we're learning now, could change in future. Certain things could, you know, be flipped around. There might be more that they add on, we'll see. Aspect fracture and sundering seems to be the word Honkai in CN, you know. Don't quote me, that's what I've seen mostly people say, who have translated it, of course, and not just making this up. Aspect fracture might be something else, but need more info. It seems I'm also saying stuff that it might have something else, it might just be the word Honkai for that bit, but the sundering is, as far as I understand. Aspect fracture might be something else, yeah. I'm still not going to say it doesn't mean Honkai. Yeah, until we obviously get something saying otherwise, I'm not going to say it doesn't mean that. And then I said, you know, my own note here. Also, this isn't the first time Honkai... I mean, all of it's my own note, but you get what I mean. Also, this isn't the first time Honkai isn't called Honkai. Also, because, you know, it's called Sundering in this case, for us, at least in, you know, English. Isn't called Honkai. Also, the name Honkai is in the game's title, Honkai. Is a term, after all. Like, Honkai's a term, after all, coined by which civilization is talking about it. Just as, like, you know, like with Venus and Perusha and Honkai Impact 3rd, it was called the Abyss. Another name for Honkai is, you know, at least on Earth, was called, you know, Imaginary Internal Energy. But again, they're just terms, they're just names. Mars, you could say, Mars, you could say, you know, also known as the Loxing, you know, Honkai Part 2, Honkai 3rd Part 2. Core, you could say the Honkai Shadows. Again, we are only calling it, could be Honkai here because of what Earth has said. So it could be something else. But my guess is in theory it's just another name, because again, that seems to be the thing with the term Honkai. Also, none of the names given by Earth or Mars or Venus might be what Honkai's name is, of course. Honkai is the most consistent name. Yeah, it's the main term. Honkai means collapse. When you translate it from CN into English, all forms of what I put above have some sort of concept of collapsing. Examples like the word sundering can mean to separate or break apart, to break something. All are forms of, you could say, collapse. Meanwhile, imaginary energy can still be stuff outside of Honkai, as we've seen. That doesn't mean it also isn't connected to Honkai, though. Again, they're best to go case-by-case basis, you know, by the context given and so on. This wasn't to explain what Honkai can and may be, because that's an entire other thing. It was to explain how the word or term is just that word or term. That a word or term, a understanding of the characters, is not a universal truth. It doesn't make any of their points less valuable, neither does it make terms or words pointless, or their meaning either. Also, in the case of names or placeholders for Honkai or Shadows, Honkai in this case, you had Chapter 8 Part 2, other Hellia deal with calamities and pollutants. Again, just another name for Honkai, most likely, considering what we saw. And then, yeah, this is just the CN translation of the thing that's up there. And that's just the official website for CN. They've got this little thing also on there. That's like, you've got some more little things shown. But that's about it. The reason this is here, as it says here, another note, but keep in mind I'm using Google Translate, like, you know, I'm translating the page for this part here. But this part, not everything else, but this part here on page, but when you press translate, it says again, I'm going off what the page says, True King. So apparently it seems for Sovereign, it seems to be its True King. If you know, translate the page, and I've seen others also who have been translating it, also say it seems to be that, True King. For what, you know, instead of Sovereign, you know, when it comes to CN. And then for Tyrant, for Nova. You get an idea of Heraldry a bit more. But again, take it with a grain of salt for now. Is this... This is it as well, though, like as I say, the owner of the old world's principles, so talk about principles, the king of the world with privileges and power. Again, though, you can take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, the owners of the new world's principles control 81 planes respectively. That doesn't seem too different. That seems a bit more different because it's about principles and stuff, but, you know, because most of the heavenly principles in Genshin, but, again, they have a grain of salt. Destroyer, 7 times. Yeah, it's the same thing, though. What I did find weird, though, was on the page, that I definitely would not have put together, but again, take it with a grain of salt. On another weird note, it calls the Anima Karma Elves on the CN site, as well as Karma Master, so instead of Animaster and something else, it called it Karma Master, as you can see here. Oh, no, it's not it. You know, like Karma Elf, or List of Elves, which reminds me again of, like, you know, it's spelled differently, but, you know, it's like the elves in Honkai Impact 3rd. They're called elves here, apparently, at least when you know, translate the page. That doesn't mean they are elves, to be clear. And then Karma Master, you know, instead of Animaster. So I found that interesting. You can see here it says Nexus Anima and Animaster's here. And it says Karma Elf here and Karma Master. It's interesting these little creatures have been formed from, yeah, for the Nexus being scattered across the world. That's fascinating, honestly. That's a really cool way of, like, bring them to life, and I wonder if it's why they have like little light effects and energy and stuff around them. That would make sense. What's this? Why did I put this note here? Oh yeah, this is what we have for now, the site for join the desk. Got this little cute thing that we still actually have the name of. Same in this case, still have the name of it here, but it's also here. I remember seeing this one in the trailer. We haven't got the name for this one either. Nor this one, but we've seen it in the trailer. And this one as well, but we haven't got it except, you know, again, in the trailer. Sikiano riding that one, I think. It reminds me of it, at least. You know, the one that's just riding in the open world. Down here. Here. This looks very like it, at least. Where is it? Is there another note I put here? Also, apparently universe is used instead of world in CN. Yeah, I already said that, which could mean in theory not confirmed a few things. Either this is outside the overall universe Mahara has been building, or it could mean something else again. We need more info. It does say universe in the English, apparently. That is correct with what the CN says. Again, I'm not trying to take my words of grain of salt. I don't know why I put that twice. Also, even if this is true, this doesn't mean it's not connected to all the other games, but again, I can't say 100%. It is either we have too little info. I am with the belief it is connected. I mean, if it's not connected, I feel like they're wasting quite a bit, personally, with what they've already built in the other games. And the parallels and the connections and everything else they've already got. We still need to learn more about the planes and other things we have learned. Yes, I'm very interested about the planes. This is, again, just basically every page to do with, you know... Oh, no, that's the actual Chinese translation, though. Because I decided to not just post this, I decided to also post the actual Chinese text in case I want to ask one day, or just so I have it for reference. Yeah, it's just plane traveler. Let me just check one other thing. Yeah, see, it says collapse here, not sundering. Which again would equal Honkai, but you know. See, finite and infinite. That makes more sense to me than what we have being infinity and infinity, but we'll see. I think it's mainly those. I don't think it's everything else, is it? No, not really. Not here. No, not really. That looks all the same. Yeah. And also, yeah, on the Miyushu page, again, this is translating the page, you know, take it with a grain of salt. It does say the elf of Honkai, so... Are these elves? There's also, like, again, on this page as well, it says... Destiny, elf, destiny test, recruitment is now open. And obviously that's the Chinese translation. No, the actual text of this one here and there. So it makes you wonder if there's going to be something to do with elves or something, or if these are classed as elves in CN. I don't know. And then I made a rule for myself when I was talking, and I said important points for myself when discussing anything in theory. Like, in anything in this topic, obviously, so the imaginary tree, you know, being the overall universe with the countless worlds on it, you know, the branches being the timelines, and the leaves being the worlds. Again, they're analogies, they're not actually a tree, it's not actually branches, it's not actually leaves. That's the analogy, you know, the Seer Quantum, you know, the ether bathtub is, with the bubble worlds and stuff. But again, you know, then it's the imaginary space, and then the word, you know, the word for world, like, you know, proper real world, bubble world, world as in a planet, world as in the world we live in, you know, stuff like that, so that's what that was for. The very rare cases would do exist when CN uses universe instead of the usual universe, as in, like, you know, the examples I said before. I warned about it before as well. The word microcosm in Genshin as well, as since that had some interesting ideas of Genshin being separated from something, not that it is not connected, because it is connected, as we know, the whole Dvalan thing. That we see in Chapter 17, or at least see in a video on the 4.2 trailer in Honkai Impact 3rd, about the Dvalan being observed. Those being from memory, being things like Sue in the second key manga, yeah, just things I remember, yeah. Things to the second key manga in one of the panels, and also Nihility and Star Rail in the databank saying multiverse, but again, not been expanded on. And now Honkai Nexus Anima saying universes. And no, don't worry, I'm very aware of the whole thing of bubble universe thing when it's supposed to be bubble world and stuff like that. So don't worry, we're not making the whole mistake with that again. This is like mentioning stuff when it does get mentioned and does actually mean that. Does actually mean the whole of a term. That's why this is here as a reminder. Durandal the end, Shakespeare uses the word multiverse, but again the context is different. No character 100% knows anything, question everything, but don't lose the pieces we are given, as we have to work with what we are given, because I can't work with nothing. Now, let's get on to some of these pictures here. I did also get those from the trailer in my own time. I'll say now, this does remind me of May a bit in design. Well, not that obviously, and not that either. Again, not saying it is. It's obviously a bit different with like, the blue hair and the purple, but the outfit, as someone pointed out, just looked like that stigmata art that she does have, wearing this kind of like outfit. But other than that, yeah, there's no other like connection with that. But she looks nice, and she seems to be very nice too. Oh no, I forgot your name again. Your name is. We'll get there eventually. Foolhardy. There's like a phoenix here, so I'm guessing this is like maybe the Phoenix Breaker's office, maybe. And there's a sword here, which reminds me of Sir Champion a bit, or a knight. Maybe they've got a thing throwing knights here, like they do in Honkai Impact 3rd Part 2 right now, who knows? Or maybe it's just things to do with Sir Champion because of the whole amphitheatre thing in Leah. That makes sense. Yeah, they obviously repaired the damage that was done when the horn went through with the paper. Looks like some sort of like paper or form. Yeah, you see like a phoenix here. There's a sword. That makes you think of Phoenix Breakers personally. Maybe like breaking out the world, maybe, or breaking through something. That's what this reminds me of, maybe in theory. I do wonder if this is to do with the actual anima, as if like this is actually like milk from the Nemo, I think it's called. And if this is from that koala-looking one. And if this is from the boba bird. So that'd be interesting if they actually do eat products from anima. Or maybe this is more the products harvested from anima, and that's how they eat, which would make sense, honestly. Because, I mean, where else are you getting ingredients if that's all that exists in the world? It's interesting, though, because then it looks like quite futuristic as well. Not very, like, non-futuristic food. But again, it could be a very alien-like, couldn't it? So then it doesn't have to be that futuristic. I may just try to get every shot possible so I could see the character as well as possible. Like a sparkle in her eye there? Looks like it. Might be a Siren a bit as well in design. And then obviously I took a picture of this so you can see in the back. You can see Maple Maribel, you can see that anima that we still have the name of. You can see Kyo something, I forgot the name. I don't know who this is yet, with the toast and the toaster. I'm gonna guess that's something to do with that food here again, with the toast here maybe, with the pointy horns. We don't know what this is yet, but this dog seems to have cameras come out of it. Photos in this case. Maybe it's even picked up to take photos, that wouldn't surprise me. Still don't know what this is yet, like I said. Or this actually. You see it in the trailer. That's like Hua behind with the like the boba burb, and I don't remember Puddling Pup? Yeah, Puddling Pup. And yeah, that's the cat thing that had a name. Anyway. Moving on. Oh yeah, and the logo also reminds me a bit of Firefly, a bit with the colours, to be honest. But I think these streams and like things again is like threads, or again like Nexus threads, or again stuff to do with like you know threads again. You can see it as well, like when Kiana sent out this one, there's like a rainbow like silhouette or glow coming out. I had it on slow-mo, obviously that's how I caught the shot. You can see it here as well, like again, like, it looks like threads, but they're all like unconnected a little. Which would make sense, because it's part of the new world, not the old world. If they are the Nexus threads, I mean. But remember, considering the aspects are so connected to the creatures, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some bigger connection there. Considering how the aspects were formed, or, you know, how the creatures came into existence. The anima. That's why I said a vision before. It reminded me of a vision, but as we know, that's not from what we saw. Yeah, I already showed that one. Again, symbol of silhouette, and then the threads. It's just kind of different locations, to be honest. None of this really meant too much. But he's got some interesting locations to us. I'm guessing this is all Leah. There's that thing again that we don't have the name of. As well as that one again that we don't have the name of. Looks like some sort of inky foal, maybe. Maybe like barbers or, you know, haircut place? Or is it just for inky foals? Because that's why the inky foal's on there. And there's the Donatello there. There's Maple, some, you know, you see in the overworld some Puddling Pups. Seems you can fight them with the sword icon, I'm guessing. That's, I'm guessing, showing the amount of meters between, like when things appear. That's just the character customization. I just took a picture of it to, for example, it looked like quite a few examples of how much you can customize stuff, which is nice. There's some nice options. And, yeah, you can interact, looks like, with the world as well. Again, just how deep some of the lore is. I mean, I'm not saying you can't have cozy and, you know, friendly, like, thing. That's usually what Mario do a little with some things, but I do think the story is going to be quite dark, considering, you know, well, the lore up all up here, and you read some of the things going on. I think it's going to become quite dark lore, probably. I'm really excited, honestly. If there isn't, that's fine. I'll probably still enjoy the game if there is, like, connections and stuff to be interested in. I'll be a little bit less interested, but it's fine. I still like what Mario make half the time, so I'm sure I'll enjoy it. There's the Q-Blade there with whatever that is. The wooden thing. Looks like you can bond with them, and then, like, you know, you can see the Nexus thread, and then, like, a star. Come on. There. I do like the thread thing. The thread thing's interesting. Like the Nexus threads, I'm gonna call it for now, because of what it's been saying. Some sort of strange rainbow power here. These pictures have literally just been taken for, like, anything I thought was interesting going on with it. That's interesting. So this thing folds from, like, this into this. Yeah, I like the look of this one, this umbrella-looking one. The anima, I mean. There's like a book there. And then after that, it's... I'm guessing there's some, like, your... I don't mean to say this, but, like, some sort of, like, collector or Pokedex in a way. Because then, like, after, like, that was the same thing she was bonding with. And then took a picture. It's like, there. It's like you've collected it. That reminds me of Elation. Reminds me of Aha a bit with the masks there. Mask Falls. And you can see all these different ones here that do give us a glimpse, I think, into some of the ones we haven't actually got revealed, because... Yeah, there's that one again, the one that Hua has. That looks like an evolved form of the Q-Blade. I think the one that was shown in the trailer again. But, you know, it was the teaser of the Star Rail trailer. Oh, there it is, an anima. The one that, what was his name had? Advance, I think it was, or something? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, they got a lot of interesting ones here. There's the dog with the camera. There's the one from the sign-up thing. That's different, yeah, the doggo there with whatever that is. I like this one. I really like the theatrical-looking ones. Is anything else here? Nope, move on. This reminds you of Elysian Realm a bit, or any type of, like, game mode, or Abyss, or any kind of thing, some sort of buff, I'm guessing. Yeah, it's mainly lore I've been doing, but obviously this is now more gameplay, I get that. It seems the toast is... I don't know. But yeah, they're there. I guess it might be where you just play as in PvP, if there is PvP. And there's, of course, the light Novark there, but we don't have her model. And the reason I say that is because you can see here, we do have a model of someone we haven't seen. Like, Reminds me of Ellie a little, it's clearly not Ellie. Or it doesn't remind me. Oh, hang on, there's a love heart. Maybe she's the... You better not be the world ender. I'll be very confused if you're somehow the world ender. She might be, though, now the one of love, maybe. She might have now... Yeah, she might not have maybe the plane of love. I could see that, because there's the love heart. That makes sense. I don't know who you are. I'm trying to think. You don't... Unless your affinity, maybe, or something else. But, yeah, 2 new characters we haven't seen. We're in the trailer. Again, more we haven't seen, but also have seen in the trailer. Now, hang on. Is that... Hang on. Let me check something. Yeah, you... 28... by the costs. Okay, no, it's the same. I thought it was another evolution for a minute, but no, it's the same. No, fair enough. Yeah, you can see all the different anima on there and stuff. And there's Blade, there's the other one. Yeah, and I like... This is probably going to be an important creature to, I'm guessing, the overall of Nexus Anima. And you got all these, then. Yeah, because you got here for aspects, by the way. You've got hate, light, memory, dark, love, war, change, beauty, peace, right, insatiability, competition, regret, weakness. And we saw some of these did line up with the Novarks as well. I'll probably write that later, actually. Oh yeah, and pride as well, and weakness. And you got traits being not as many, but I'm guessing it's more like a gameplay thing. I don't know, though. Striker, Explorer, Gladiator, Protector, Bluster, Mastermind, Hothead, Cherubian, Angel-like, I guess, Mascot. And then you got the icons here, of course. Some wheat. It looks like with Cetacean, there's some sort of like wheat, which reminds me of like, well, the abundance a bit, but it's obviously just food. Hate being a broken heart, which obviously fits the the pink-haired one that I forgot the name of. Light being, you know, Armand. Memory. Dark again being Armand, but of course now he's only of the dark, isn't he? Not the light, so I guess it would be a Probus right now? The monk, right? Maybe she usurped it from him. Well, no. It sounds like something to the curse, doesn't it? It sounds like she cursed him, and then he imprisoned her, or he imprisoned her, and then he cursed, and then she cursed him. That's what it sounds like. Love is fitting for the pink-haired one with the heart. War, we haven't got that yet. Change, haven't got that yet. Beauty, we haven't really seen that. I don't think War's got a gun, personally. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Change is an interesting one. I guess it change form. Or, you know, like change, you know, like your existence of existing. Like we saw with the steed. Beauty reminds me a bit of, well, yeah, the beauty in Star Rail a bit. And then peace. Oh no, there is more. Right was only on like the Judge Bird thing. Insatiability. Can't eat, I'm guessing, is the opposite of satiability. Or doesn't fill that long. Competition we saw with Sir Champion. Regret. That was on the Q. That was on the Q-Blade. No, not Q-Blade. Oh, no, it was Q-Blade. Never mind. And also, I wonder if Blade regrets not dying, because I know it was a thing with his character. I think there's more to it than that with him, like I've said. I'm only up to seeing Penniconia in terms of story, like I'm not further than that, so still stuff I don't know, and I still need to read Blade's bio, but I don't have him, so I might have to read that somewhere else. His Honkai Star Rail bio, to be clear. And again, I'm still know it's the same Blade in this game. I really doubt it's not, though, considering he looks identical. There's literally no change. Weakness, that was just one of them again, and Pride. But Pride is one of the 7 deadly sins, so we'll see where that goes, I guess. Trade, Strikers, like a horn. Or a Gallahorn, I guess. Reminds me of a bit. Explorer, like an axe. Exploring, I guess. Gladiator's a fighter. Protector's more of like a defender. blasters, obviously, I guess something that blasts from afar. Masterminds, I guess, are really intelligent and scheming existence. That's my guess. Hothead, I'm guessing, is something that doesn't have much patience and just goes for the charge. Cherubium, something to do with, like, angels or holiness, I'm guessing. And mascot is, well, I guess a mascot. But yeah, it's interesting. It looks like they've got open world stuff. Yeah, they're clearly again open world stuff again. And then some sort of like auto chess or some sort of like game like this. Again, I've seen lots saying TFT again, but I haven't played TFT, so I can't say. And even if it is, like, doesn't mind me too much. I'm just interested in the lore personally. We haven't seen what this is. Like, that's also not listed, and that one also isn't listed. You know, in terms of the anima list. I don't think that is either, actually. Yeah, honestly, the trailer gave you quite a lot of ones that potentially could be the silhouettes, I guess, and we just haven't, like, seen what they are. You see a bit of her face here, which isn't... Oh, she's on an umbrella! Well, I think I'm gonna like her, then. I like umbrellas. They're cool. I could go through each of these. I mean, I guess I may as well at this point, since we're pretty much covering everything. And it might shed some more information, maybe, by rereading them. I've not read these on stream yet, to be clear. I've read these in my own time. But it's best to cover everything, considering we literally have. Puddly Pup, the one we saw of Kiana in the image at least, and also the one with Maple in the trailer. This soft burn, also the one we saw with, I guess, Squall in the background. Height, 68 centimeters. Energy, 33 joules. I know it has energy. I guess the amount of energy it has. Joules is probably the amountage. This soft, bouncy pudding pup anima often gets flattened under the pressures of life. It's quite tragic, honestly. But again, that might be a similar thing I've seen, like you see in some games, that you read about little creatures going, oh, that's quite a messed up story. I know I saw that in the Pokedex and like in Yokai Watch and other stuff, so it's nice to see they're doing some entries that feel quite, you know, again, fitting for Mohoyo. This even sounds existential a bit, saying pressures of life. Clever humans use this fact to give themselves a bit of a boost, bouncing high into the sky. That's messed up. Poor puddling pup. My poor puddly pup. Tailleap. Aspect hate. Trait explorer. I wonder then if some of these would be only in the planes that maybe some of the people are in. So like, of course, the Master of Hate would only Tailleaps and other things to have hate be in that plane, or no? Height 65 centimeters, energy 26 joules, so less this time. Tailleap's whimsical mischief makes it irresistibly charming, even as its tricks find themselves torn between frustration and fondness. But it can always find a way to pry open the locks guarding the most precious of things. It tricks people. Even as it tricks finds themselves torn between frustration and fondness. Yeah, because it's got its cute appearance, but still hate. You can always find a way to pry open the locks guarding the most precious of things. I mean, literally? I'm guessing mainly literally, to be honest, but maybe mentally as well. Bun Marine. I'm reading all this because we already see it visibly. Height 77 centimeters, energy 30 joules. Okay, so nothing higher than 33 yet. Beneath the waves, Bun Marine glows with the luminescence of a jellyfish. It usually dwells on shore. You can see why your aspect is light. This mainly. Yeah, I could see why Inky Fall fits memory. In a bit of colours, you know, instead of the greys and the whites and the blacks. Pretty, like, greyish colour scheme. It's a very nice colour scheme, honestly. Height 90, energy 49 joules. I still don't know what this means exactly. Inky Fall drifts like a shadow, driven equally by playful whims and valiant quests. As naughty as it is adorable, it carries a child's joyful spirit through all its wanderings. Can carry something similar to one or literally carries one? Because I know that was the thing with some Pokemon times, like with Phantom and some other stuff, so... You carrying actual, like, joyful spirits of, you know... people? Or, you know, children in this case? Or something else? As naughty as it is adorable, it carries a child's joyful spirit through all its wanderings. Does seem a bit spirity a bit. Not really ghosts though, is it? Either way, interesting. I like the drifts like a shadow though. I like Kinky Fall's design. Which reminds me of Unstable Unicorns a bit. In terms of the design. Just a board game to do with unicorns and stuff. It's actually quite fun. Anyway, I haven't played it in ages. I mean card game, not board game. Anyway, Apollonius. Yeah, I like the gem on the head. Again, light, obviously. Yeah, see here the energy's like light. I tried to capture this, like... That makes sense why the aspect is light. So I think the aspect probably is more of a lore-based thing, hopefully. It should be nice. Maybe even the traitors. Height 110 centimeters, energy 66 joules. Yes, we've got quite a high amount of joules here. Apollonius strides with the honor-bound steps of a knight. Brilliance blazing like the sun. This honestly reminded me of that dessert in the Feast and Sea of Data event. With just like these being eyes and stuff. These aren't eyes, obviously. They're like berries, I think. And this is cream. Again, very food-themed creatures. Phalaenoxy. Aspect dark. So again, yeah, what Armand would have at this point, right? Trait protector. Height 102 centimeters, energy 60 joules. Okay, so yeah, similar to the other one. 6 less. That's like purple energy, like last time I saw. Though inherently proud, this anima will always lower its guard around a Vulberry, unable to resist a contest of beauty. Yeah, it's like a counterpart to a Vulberry a bit, or at least lowers its guard around a Vulberry. And falls in love with it, I guess. Like 2 pairs. Heart cease. Yeah, okay, that makes sense why you're, I guess, 74 joules, if whatever this means. Aspect love, which I'm guessing is why you fit the literal colour scheme with the character that we haven't had revealed, except from the trailer. I'd like to see what they actually are, that character. I'm guessing they are the Novark of love, is my theory. And I'd be shocked if she doesn't have one of these. Aspect love, trait blaster. Heartsease watches its beloved from afar. Yeah, very much to do with love. What's its beloved though? Like the one it's in love with, or some other like actual one it's beloved with? Too shy to approach, yet powerless to conceal the affection surging within its chest. Yeah, the heart that literally comes out of the chest and then you squeeze. It's one of the ones I like the most so far though. Its design's really interesting. There's the Vulberry. Oh, I don't have his eyes closed. Oh well, close enough. Aspect citation, yeah, food. Trait is mastermind, apparently. Height is 95 centimeters, energy is 58 joules. Vulberry has cream smooth fur dappled with vivid strawberry jam splashes. It is most willing to share this sweetness by throwing cakes, and you remind me most of the sugars with your white and red colour scheme and some brown and sprinkles, to be honest. You remind me of the sugars very much in Honkai Impact 3rd, but again, I think it's just a coincidence. The sugars really would fit there, so it would be kind of cool to see them, to be honest. Anyway, Score Scythe. Yeah, the more, less friendly looking one. Aspect, War, Trait, Gladiator. Oh, you've got really high jewel count. Height, 245 centimeters. Energy, 288 joules. Score Scythe's bladed tail morphs into a scythe. Oh, it's a scythe. Well, that makes sense of the name. Shifting from frigid blue to wrathful crimson. Ooh. It's a bit like Sele and other Sele. You know, because light Sele and dark Sele, isn't it? You know, you see like Sele have like the more blues and purples, like the sea, and the quantum colours. And then you have like, you know, wrathful crimson with like, you know, dark Sele with the red eyes, and also sarcasm Nyx for a battle suit and stuff. Oh, it's interesting. Let's do have a scythe as well. I really like you. It wages perpetual war on all its life, unceasingly seeking conquest. Conquest, you say? Might say the Harasha of Thunder with the Gem of Conquest, but that's probably just coincidence. Again, just tying words together as I speak, because that's the best way to formulate my thoughts. So there's music's on, to be honest, as well, to help let my thoughts flow and have something in the background, something mysterious and interesting, at least to me. That's interesting. I really like Score Scythe, actually, now, after rereading it again. I don't like the fact you wage... I don't like that you wage perpetual war on all of its life. All its life, though. That's, I mean... up to you, I guess. Mush glue. I don't remember taking the picture of you like this. Oh, the face. that's how it's supposed to look. Anyway, Mush glue mini. Glue mini. I've heard some saying Ruin May might have like not made this one, but she's made something similar that looks like this. I don't know what to say on that though. Though mushroom-like in appearance, Mush glue mini is inedible. Active only at night, it uses dark spores to protect itself. Dark and is a striker. Yeah, I've not got much more to say than that other than, yeah, it looks like an interesting looking mushroom. They just have, yes, the dark aspect energy or purple spores. Alright, that's the end of those. Next. Just reminded me of an oceanid a bit, to be honest, and a bit of a sea slug. I really like its design. Really like Fayflux's design. Aspect change, that's very abstract. But it makes sense, maybe shapeshift and stuff. Trait mastermind. Height 101 centimeters, energy 40 joules. Gathering nexus like... Wait, hang on. Gathering nexus like... Ooh, hang on. It's brought up nexus. Gathering nexus like luminous sand to its breast. Fate swirls... Do you mean Fae? Fate swirls as grains of light. Fayflux observes the bottle's transformations. Yeah, because change. A silent witness to all, disclosing nothing. Yeah, I like Fayflux. That's a really interesting one. Brings up about gathering nexus like luminous sand as well, so... Let's do the nexus again. Lepinamiel. Lepinamiel. Remind me of Mara Struck a bit, to be honest, with your colour scheme. But obviously it's a bit more gold, obviously, than the... Actually, I guess it is still a bit like the Mara Struck colours. Aspect, beauty, trait, hothead. Height 188 centimeters, energy 66 joules. A beauty anima often mistaken for a hairpin. You can see a bit why. This is very like a hairpin, some of this. Yet as it flutters gracefully on wings outstretched, it often bears impossibly heavy burdens. I wonder what heavy burdens it has. Oh, these I'm guessing. Maybe these are the heavy burdens. I don't know though. Could be something else. Yeah, Donubi. You can see the hate colour here. I think the darkish like pink. It's pretty fitting. Better the bright pink, which is more like love. That would be my guess. Aspect, hate, trait, mastermind. Yeah, so don't be fooled by this thing. Height 7. This was the one that also showed us the logo on the official Twitter page when we like had it and it took it out the bag and threw it. An anima of hate. This rabbit peddles tainted donuts through suspected of being a cat. Though suspected of being a cat, wearing a rabbit costume, no proof has yet been found. A cat wearing a rabbit costume. I say mimic you a bit, that disguise thing. I like things like that, though. Olive spare. Aspect piece, trait, cherubim. Very plant-like, aren't you? Remind me of Sumer a bit of your colours. So does some of the other bits, but mainly this does with the colours, to be fair. That's why I'm bringing it up till now. Height 64 centimeters, energy 30 joules. A peace-loving anima. It enjoys playing hide-and-seek with humans. So it likes humans, that's fair. It blends into its surroundings, yet frequently reveals its presence due to its excessive exuberance. That'd be like a chameleon, or camouflaging, I guess. I saw down here there was like a little root that went after it for some reason. It doesn't say what that is, so I wonder what this is coming after it, the little like root that you see move after it. I've heard some call this Nouvellette, which is fair, but I also don't agree. But I guess I can see it. But no. Magistrate. Aspect right. I don't know what that means exactly, but yeah. Trait gladiates. The honor with also the right aspect, apparently, whatever that means. Height, 94 centimeters. Energy, 55 joules. Magistrate enforces justice with gavel held high, fancying itself a judge and reveling in the spotlight. Yeah, it did seem to. Seemed very proud of itself. Nom nom. Aspect cetacean. Trait protector. Height 74 centimeters. Energy 58 joules. Even with its brow shaved, it's into dots. Even with its brow shaved into dots. Brow. Alright. This anima of cetacean fails to appear more intimidating. Yeah, there's a lot of cetacean have stuff to do with food. I'm noticing that. It must constantly guard against fellow anima taking nibbles from its ears and tail. Yeah, it's literally a meal in itself. I feel sorry for the thing. I love this seal one in the bowl, like a ramen noodle seal. It's adorable. Papanu. Aspect cetacean. Trait explorer. Height 73 centimeters. Energy 53 joules. A Nexus Anima of the aspect of cetacean. It can often be found in the front of ramen noodle shops, promoting them to passerby, yet when given the cold shoulder, it will engage in self-sabotage. Alright. Promoting them to passerby, yet when given the cold shoulder, it will often engage in self-sabotage. Does it get to live, or does it just get eaten? I guess it's promoting noodles, not so much getting eaten, hopefully. I don't know what this discusses insatiability, I guess because it's the stuff you couldn't eat from it, because it's kind of its life force. Boba Bird, aspect, insatiability, trait, blaster. Yeah, I can see it blasting like a cannon. Height, 96 centimeters, energy, 45 joules. Boba Burb is always seeking more food and constantly stumbling along the way. It's a bit of a glutton. Eggnog, aspect, competition, trait, mastermind. Height, 75 centimeters, energy, 55 joules. Again, we haven't done anything higher than the war one, being 266, which is pretty high. This boxing-obsessed poached egg boasts a plump, yielding belly. Off-duty, its temper mellows, often permitting its ears to be knotted behind its head. The mask. I like the mask. I like the steed. Looks very cool. Aspect change. Yeah, I think I don't like the change ones. Seems to like change their like appearance or vanish from existence. A quantum state like existence would fit that kind of thing. In theory, of course. If, you know, change to the state of change of something. Trait, mascot. Height, 234 centimeters. Energy, 113 joules. Okay, it's quite high, this one. A steed of mercurial disposition, often vanishing abruptly even as the crowd watches. Never does it reveal its true visage. Yes, I'm guessing there's two red eyes behind there. The thing is, though, this does look very like, what's the name? You see them riding it as well, but it looks very like... Where are you? Kumyo Kyo. Like, you see the eyes and the hair colour? And you also see it, you can see them riding it as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if it is something very much to do with them. But, saying about its true visage, I wonder if it's like another appearance or some sort of like joint existence kind of thing. And what is the true visage? Because if you look at it, it looks like that one. It looks like them. The eyes and stuff, and the hair. That's interesting. It's a mascot, apparently, for trait. Don't know what that means. Unless it means, yeah, I guess. The trait that fits the one it's with. And that rule doesn't apply anymore, because then you have regret with the Q-Blade, so there goes that theory. Oh, so cute. And yes, it does remind me of Cubone, but it's different, and it looks really cute. And it fits Blade. Anyway, Q-Blade, aspect regret, trait hothead. Height 99 centimeters, energy 52 joules. This young dog bears a sharp blade of bone upon its head and loves to use lampposts, walls, and even petrologs, I'm guessing that's what the little log wooden thing is, to hone its bone blade. Yeah, to sharpen it or get stronger, I'm guessing. Though not cut it in half, otherwise you'll probably kill the poor petrologs. It possesses a most stubborn personality and its bones are uncommonly hard. I mean, yeah, you definitely fit Blade if you are somehow connected in some way with each other. Like in the picture. Martial bird. Competition. Yeah, aspect is competition, trait is gladiator. Height 198 centimeters. Energy 86 joules. I have the starry pattern and like the... I like the crane like blue bird like thing. Martial bird's plumage radiates attesting brilliance in competition. It adheres to chivalric principles. I would not be surprised if Sir Champion had this. Guarding the medal-like feathers upon its nape is a treasured regalia. And then you got Plume Loon, which is aspect beauty, trait cherubium, our second cherubium, only 2 so far. Height 199 centimeters, energy 94 joules. I do like the colours. The pinks and the purples. This animal's plumage flows like liquid silk and can. Ooh, the feathers are like liquid silk. That's interesting. And can often be found by the water. Admiring its own reflection. That's like a mirror. You know, admiring for a mirror. Though its tail feathers are resplendent, it seldom displays them. So it keeps them to itself quite a bit. Mimu, yes, the milk thing. Insatiability aspect, trait, gladiator. Why? How are you a gladiator? I'm a little surprised by that one. I guess the horns, maybe. Height, 55 centimeters. Energy, 31 joules. It's very low. To conserve energy, Mimu camouflage itself as merchandise in warehouses, perching motionless beside milk crates. Yeah, which I'm guessing is probably from your milk. I'm assuming some of these get harvested, like I said before. I liked Vixamon because it reminded me of Herta and reminded me of Jade. The Herta and Jade, I mean. And yeah, Herta as well. I really like the purple colour scheme with the blue and the spacey colours. Very nice design. Little star-like patterns appear as well, with arrows and like... Oh, a butterfly up here as well, it looks like. Some bows. Vixamon, aspect dark, trait hothead. Height 177 centimeters. Energy 61 joules. You haven't had that purple energy I saw before. Vixamon is forever hidden under its black top hat. Grieving the world's shadows like a widow shrouded in eternal sorrow. Well, that sounds quite tragic. How's your aspect not regret? Like a widow shrouded in eternal sorrow. So are you in eternal sorrow? It just say grieving the world's shadows. That's interesting. Is it grieving what happened to the old world? Maybe. Oh, hothead, that makes sense. That fits Herta a bit. But I know she obviously gets frustrated, which isn't too often. Egg loves. It's like a Diavol form of the egg yolk. Aspect weakness, yeah. Trait striker. Height 34 centimeters, energy 29 joules. But to abandon its pacifier, it's because it looks like a baby, egg loves often sticks closely beside an egg knock for protection. That makes sense. Carefully studying combat techniques. Yeah, it's growing. Right, Chimora. Chimora. Yeah, it's not Chimora, it's Chimora, isn't it? As in Chimora. Like a Chimera. Yeah, like a Chimera. Aspect, light, trait, explorer. I like the snake, and I like, obviously, the lion, like, head, and I like the symbol here. Height, 119 centimeters, energy, 78 joules. Chimora glistens with gold, yet its tail forever disputes its commands. Yes, it glistens with gold. But the tail's the one issuing the commands probably most of the time, guessing has the most authority between the two of them. Donatello. Aspect, dark, trait, blaster. Height, 82 centimeters, energy, 37 joules. Donatello, ever melancholic? Ooh, I like that. Bet if I can get a bit melancholic myself. Tends the indigo flame upon her crown with unwavering devotion. Are some of these only he's then and she's? That's what some of this implies. At least this one's a she from what I'm reading here, but is there also a he and a she, or is this one specifically a she? Sounds like it. See, I haven't had so many also refer always like a he or a she, have we? No, we've had it's and it's and it's and it's and it's and... Yeah, we haven't had just he's or she's, so that's the first time, I think. I mean, I'll double check in a minute, but interesting. Tends the indigo flame upon her crown with unwavering devotion. Yeah, because there's a heart up there, so I'm assuming that heart's very important. That goes out, you might die. I love its design. I like a lot of the dark ones, but that doesn't surprise me. They've got some really cool, like, design. And themes that fit probably things I'm interested in. Frygles. Aspect cetacean, trait hothead. It's literally a fry, yeah. And fry wings. And a fry nose, even. Chip bird, basically. Height 66 centimeters, energy 76.5 joules. Wait, point? What's that about? We haven't had that yet. A seagull that likes to get some fries on the pier and frequently ferries passengers on aerial glides. Apparently smeared with honey mustard stains. It's regularly recruited as an ambassador for horror movies. Why? Okay. There's Foolhardy, the main one we've seen in, well, a trailer and in the thing they showed and the short and yeah, quite a bit, honestly. The only one that's been Pride so far. Aspect Pride, trait Explorer. Height 108 centimeters, energy 61 joules. Foolhardy remains convinced it's a dashing inky coil. Never once contemplating its true form beneath its veil. That sounds like Mimikyu. Or at least again, like a thing that has a hidden identity. These are like suckers from like tentacles. This is like, again, a bit sea sluggy. That's like a unicorn there, a bit coral-like. Yeah, this is a bit quantum state-like with the colours and these light blues coming off it. It's like aura. And we saw that character that we don't know the name of seemed to have one. Or at least seemed to be very close to one. Because it brought her back the paper, it looked like. I wonder if she's a Novark of Pride. Or maybe the leader of the Phoenix Breakers? That's a possibility. It did seem like maybe some, like, important figure. Considering they had an office with that form and everything. We are nearly done. Clocked. Aspect memory. Traits. Cherubium. Okay, we have 3 of these. I didn't realise they were fair. I like the name Clocked. Little symbol, little like ghostly art. Very ghost-like. Yeah, here's the thing. We've got again the thing to do with anima again. Height 70 centimeters, energy 40 joules. An anima fused with clockwork. So is it fused with any clockwork or specifically this clockwork? Who exploits this to conceal itself? Yeah, it's like it's possessing it, and also hiding in it. If you look closely, you'll find that its hand, forged from memories. Interesting. It is forever stopped at a single time. Is it a certain point in the memories it's stopped at? Or do you mean its hand is in the clock hand? You probably mean the clock hand. And then you got Choco Lamo, which again I would assume would be the one that pink-haired character would use. Aspect Love, trait Gladiator. Okay. I guess llamas can be yeah, gladiators. Height 108, I'm not saying they can't be. Height 108 centimeters, energy 88 joules. Endlessly pursuing new objects of affection. Endlessly experimenting with love's varied forms. Those ceaseless cycles defeat, it always arises again to face the next loss. So it tries different forms of loving, and even if it fails different ways, it still rises again to face the next loss. Bit tragic. Yeah, and these are all the silhouettes. Like I said before, I believe that's going to be the Hua one there. Who's got that silhouette. That's probably the evolved form of the Q-Blade. That's the one with the walking stick. What else do we recognise here? Isn't like what we've seen. That might be the wood one? Weird little wood one that the Q-Blade's sharpening its blade with. That I'm assuming is the weird serpent one. But we see Kiana riding. Oh no, it might be that one now. Could be either, I guess. That I'm assuming is the really big one with the teal and the blue and the... You know, the one we saw in the picture I showed. I'll show them in a minute. That's the doggo with the camera. Unless it's not. Yeah, other than that, I don't know. I don't know about these. Oh, that's kind of the one that's with, I've already forgot her name, but the one in the logo. That's clearly the one that's on the, you know, if you sign up and stuff and you can see the white and blue with the hat and everything. I don't know why they honestly didn't show this one since they've already showed it quite a bit, it looks like. But there must be a reason. Is it on this one? Yeah, that one there, that's the big one I was talking about. Oh, I guess it's this one, but I didn't really recognise the silhouette, so I don't know. But yeah, until we get more information, that's all I've got to really say, I think, on Honkai Nexus Anima for now. Like, I can't really say anything more. I've gone into, I think, a decent amount of what I think. If I had a lot more, I'd have to say, honestly. But no, I guess I'm just gonna wait for more information. I've gone over all my thoughts, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I really have. Said all I wanted to. Alright then, I guess we'll just move on back to... Yeah, maybe we'll be doing some Chapter 9 Part 2 today. That's fine. Right. Why is that there? Anyway. But yeah, I think we'll probably now change over to the actual chapter, potentially. And do some more Chapter 9 after I've had some water. Chapter 9 Part 2, to be clear. Not Chapter 9 Part 1. I've already done that in Honkai Impact 3rd. But yes. That'll be the end of the video. We're going to continue streaming, don't worry. I'm just also recording at the same time. And then I'll press that, and then I'll go on a water break and come back. But anyway. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'm really looking forward to Honkai Nexus Anima. Definitely got quite a few thoughts and theories, like as you've seen. It's been 2 hours and 12 minutes, so I hope that proves that. We'll leave that there for now. I'll try and post that on YouTube tonight with some sort of thumbnail, if possible. If not, I'll just post it with like some image. I don't really care too much about it getting seen. I just more want to post it, to be honest. But yeah. If you enjoyed the video, please comment down below what you're interested in Honkai Nexus Anima, and what theories you might have, and what MiHoYo games you already enjoy. And yeah, we'll leave it there. Anyway, I'll be back in a few minutes, but anyway, this is the end of the video. Skifit Mirror signing out. Catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.